Okay, here we go. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining tonight. My name is Laura Santner, and I'm a clinical social worker, and I work here with both TrickStop and SkinPick. And we are here tonight for a very special Q&A session where we will be talking about love and romance and intimacy. So feel free to ask away, whatever's on your mind. Don't be shy. I will be going over the pre-submitted questions first, and then I will just answer your questions as they come up. So please write, don't raise your hand, but write in the Q&A box, and then I'll tend to that, okay? So relax, get comfortable, and grab a fidget. Let's see. Tonight's Q&A fidget will be something soft, relaxing. This is just like an everyday, what, like a computer cleaner or something? So something soft, maybe a little stuffed animal to play with. Or a piece of jewelry. I have a spinner ring on. Oops, sorry. Spinner rings and necklace. So yeah, I have something to like play with and fidget with. So let us hop to our questions. So we have a bunch that were pre-submitted. So again, I will go over that first and then head on over to your questions. Let's see. When and how do I tell my partner I have a BFRB? So there's no right or wrong time to tell your partner. So it's really about when you feel comfortable and when you feel ready. So some people like to be upfront, like right away, cards on the table, and that kind of takes away that extra anxiety. And if you decide to tell your partner right away, um, you'll see what their reaction is, and so you'll know if it's worth taking the next steps or not. And if you want to have a relationship with this person or not, and you don't need to waste your time if they're not so into the idea of your BFRB. Um, Others like to wait a little bit longer until you get to know each other, until you feel a little bit more comfortable with each other, and your partner really gets to know you. Um, and at that point, um, most likely they're not going to care because they like you, they're interested in you, they like you for you. So it's really up to you. Um, I find that telling your partner really helps allow you to feel more comfortable ultimately with yourself, with the relationship, a lot less shame, a lot less stigma. So how you tell your partner, again, it's up to you. But feel free to keep it casual, especially if you're just kind of dipping your toes in the water there. So, for example, you can say something like, "Not sure if you noticed or not, but I have." Some bald spots or missing eyelashes or no eyebrows or marks on my skin, etc. This is because I have a, hair pulling disorder. Excuse me, hair pulling disorder, a skin picking disorder. So it has a name, um, and it's more common than you might realize. And I wish I could stop, and I would if I could. It's something that I'm aware of, and something that I'm working on managing it. And I'm happy to talk about it and tell you more about it and answer any of your questions. So something kind of like that could work. Keep it casual and see where it goes from there. Will I ever find a boyfriend or get married if I have a BFRB? Yes. Yes, you will. If that's something that you want and that you're looking for, it's going to happen for you at some point. The right person is not going to care if you have a BFRB or not. That's just one small aspect of you. Everyone has something that they're struggling with, and this just happens to be yours. So, yes. And I think whether you have a BFRB or not, um, finding a partner is hard. um, so good luck to everyone, no matter what's going on. But yes, that's what you're looking for. You'll get there. I feel so ugly. I don't even want to date, but feel the pressure as I'm getting older. So, you're not ugly. That's just kind of your perception of yourself, and you are your harshest critic. So I will tell you, you are not ugly. Um, you are going to notice things that others do not. You are going to find parts of you ugly, and other people are not. So keep in mind when you're feeling like you're ugly, you know, change that thinking a little bit. So think that, maybe you feel some parts of you are ugly in that moment, right? So think about how you can change that perception of yourself. And every moment you can feel a little bit different. So focus on the parts that you do like. Um, and if you don't feel good in a moment, think about what you can do for yourself to help yourself feel better. So something along the lines of self-care. So something like a shower, put on some makeup, wear sexy underwear. All right, that can go a long way in helping you to feel better about yourself. So don't let this be the reason um, not to date. Um, but if you don't want to date, you also don't have to date. It's up to you. There's no pressure, there's no timeline. I know as we get older, it feels like there's a timeline and there's that societal pressure, but there really isn't. So you go at a pace that's comfortable for you and that makes sense for you. Um, don't put extra pressure on yourself. See how you feel and date when you feel ready. Okay. Hope that was helpful. Okay. What if my wig falls off or I sweat my eyebrows off during intimacy? So it can happen. It does happen. And if it does, it's not the first time. It's not the end of the world. You would not be the first one that this has happened to. So if that happens, yes, it can feel like embarrassing. Um, But keep in mind, your partner might not even notice. You might realize that you're getting smudged, or that the wig shifts or falls off, but your partner might not notice. So you can kind of, play it off as like a whoopsie, like there goes my hair, or just say, hold on a sec, I just have to readjust something. They might not even realize what you're readjusting. It can be pretty subtle, and they're not going to realize it. Or you can say, excuse me one moment, and go to the bathroom and take a break and fix yourself up, reapply anything that needs to be reapplied. Um, but typically, really, your partner's not paying attention to things like that during intimacy. They're really focused on the intimacy aspect and excited about that. So if you adjust something really quickly, they're not going to notice. So keep going. It's okay, but make sure you're comfortable, of course. Um, you can take some preventative measures if you're nervous about this potentially happening. So, for example, you can use some wig tape or wig glue for extra security. Wear a headband, a cute headband, or a cute bandana, something to kind of hold it down a little bit more. Make sure the hair, if you have like clips or extensions, um, or pieces, make sure the clips are in there really nice and secure and you feel comfortable with that. Um, yeah, with makeup, look into waterproof makeup options, or something even a little bit more semi-permanent. Solutions could be something like microblading. So that's something you could consider. You can also, in general, keep the lights dim. or off. So if something like that does happen, again, they're even less likely to notice because they're not going to be able to see as well. Okay. So just some examples and things to think about. Another question. How can my partner be supportive without me getting annoyed at them? Oh yeah. So think about what would help you, um, and what you need, and then talk to them and see what's reasonable for the both of you. What are you both comfortable with? So, for example, if your partner is telling you to stop or pointing out every time that you're picking or pulling, um, that's not a helpful strategy, right? That's going to make you feel worse. It's going to really annoy you, and you're going to wind up picking or pulling more. Because it's going to be really frustrating. So that is not a helpful strategy um, for your partner to engage in with you. Some more helpful strategies, for example, could be something like holding your hand, giving you a massage, for example, while you're watching TV, handing you a fidget, or some lotion, or if they're handing you fidgets and lotion, that also might become annoying. So maybe they are responsible for making sure it's visible and accessible. So there's a fidget, on your nightstand, in the bathroom, um, by your computer, on the couch, by the TV, things like that. So making sure they can help you to make sure that there is a fidget around in different locations. They can do other things like um, make sure the mirror is always covered in the bathroom. So if take a peek and it's up, they can recover it for you. They can hide tweezers if you use tweezers. They can do that for you. They can ask you how your day was, have a conversation, just like engage you in things, ask you to help them with some things to kind of distract you. Um, Maybe you want to do an activity with them, like go on a walk, go to the gym together. Right, stay true to your values. So that will be really helpful. That will not annoy you. That will feel good. Um, Other things like if you're in the bathroom, they can like knock on the door. You can leave the door open. They can check on you. They can ask if you're okay, if you need anything. Um, they can offer to get you anything, cup of tea, water. So there's all sorts of things that they can do to support you, and there are different levels. So it just depends on where you're at and what you're comfortable with and what your partner is comfortable with doing. Okay, I'm just gonna check. Oh, good. Yeah, I see some more questions coming in on the. It's gonna take a sneak peek. Okay, perfect. Okay, next pre-submitted question. I see your live questions are coming in as well, so I will get to that. Okay. Is it okay to pull my partner's hair instead of mine when I have urges? So if you ask your partner, make sure you ask them, and they're okay with that, then yes, that's fine. Um, but keep in mind that pulling your partner's hair, it's still pulling. So it's not going to help you manage your own urges. Um, and in fact, you might find that it increases your urges, because it's not going to be as satisfying. So just something to keep in mind. So I don't necessarily recommend pulling your partner's hair, but if they're okay with it, that's between you and your partner. Okay. Okay. Another question. I'm really self-conscious about my skin and don't want my partner to see during intimacy, but I don't want to keep avoiding it. So, what do I do? So, I mean, honestly, your partner is going to be so excited that you're giving them this opportunity to be intimate, um, that they're not going to notice, and they're not going to care. They are just very excited to be able to be intimate with you. But that said, I want you to feel comfortable, right? If you're not comfortable, then it's not going to be an enjoyable experience for you. You're going to be too nervous. You're going to be up in your head, and it's not going to work. So do what's going to make you the most comfortable. So if you're self-conscious about certain areas of the body, think about maybe how you can cover it. So you can still be intimate, but you don't have to be fully naked to be intimate. So you can wear, sexy undergarments, for example, different kinds of lingerie, covers parts of the body, keep bras on or a nice shirt. You can even wear like tights or different kinds of stocking, fishnet stockings, right? That can kind of hide and distract some marks on the legs. So I mean, have fun with it. Be creative, and see what you're comfortable with. You can also, again, as I mentioned before, you don't have to have the lights on. You can keep them dim or off, and they're not going to be able to see. Okay. Um, you are going to be noticing it way more than they are. Okay. And if any of these questions spark other questions or you have follow-up questions, please feel free to write in the Q&A box. Okay. My partner is getting frustrated and wants me to stop, but I can't and feel guilty. Um, and like I'm disappointing them. How should I handle this? So, telling you to stop is not helpful, right? And that's just going to make you feel worse and it's going to trigger more urges. So, I mean, this is a frustrating chronic disorder. And your partner, I'm sure, feels very helpless and they want what's best for you. So, it's an opportunity to talk about it. Educate them, explore ways that they can help and be supportive. Let them know that you're working on it, and talk about ways again that you want them to help you, as we talked about before. So get them involved, and see how they can help. It's going to help them feel like they're doing something. Um, so it's going to help them to feel good as well. Um, okay, so I hope that answered that question. Again, ask follow-up questions if you are not satisfied or want some more. Let's see. My boyfriend keeps putting his hand on my head, and I'm worried he will realize I'm wearing a wig or that it will shift and look funny. What do I do? So consider redirecting the hand, right? So if you're uncomfortable with, and this goes for anyone as well, if you're uncomfortable with where a hand is, gently move it, gently redirect it to an area you are comfortable with or an area that's a little bit more exciting. So for example, move it, from your head to your waist, right? Your hips, your butt, your chest, right? They are going to be so thrilled that they are allowed to touch any of these other more intimate areas that they are not going to realize why you're moving their hand from your head away from your head. They're just going to be like, oh, I didn't know I can touch that, and be focused on that and really excited. So that would be my suggestion. Next question. My pubic area is so irritated from picking and plucking that it hurts to have sex. I'm really embarrassed and also don't want to be in pain. Uh, yeah, sorry to hear that. That could be really uncomfortable, and really unpleasant. And definitely don't do something if it's going to cause you pain. So it might mean that you have to take a break um, from sex, but it will heal, and it will heal faster than you think, and you can do other things. So um, just because you maybe don't want to or it hurts and you need to take a break from having sex, be intimate in other ways that don't hurt as it's healing. Okay. Um, so I would suggest to do that. Allow a little time for it to heal. It's okay. You can still be close and intimate in other ways. Um, You certainly don't want to irritate it more, because you don't want to risk any kinds of infection. If you wind up with an infection, it's going to take even longer to heal. So we want to prevent infections. I was horrified when my boyfriend pointed out all the hair in the sink after a long pulling episode in the bathroom. I didn't know what to say and just started crying and told him to leave. Oh, yeah, I mean, that can happen. Um, and it's hard to be mindful to clean up the hair after. You're distracted, or it's easy to forget you're comfortable, you're in your own space. I mean, this can happen in your space, it can happen in another space as well. um but yeah, I mean, it can be embarrassing, um or kind of shocking, I guess, if your boyfriend sees that. But if it happens, it happens. What are you going to do, right? So you kind of own it. So you have to kind of accept that that just happened. Um, and you can say something like, that must have been really awkward for you to see. I mean, you could apologize, but explain to them that, this is the nature of the disorder, unfortunately, and I got stuck in the bathroom. And this is what wound up happening this time. But I have strategies that I'm working on, and I have good days and bad days. It's not always like this. So I hope you seeing that, doesn't affect how you see me, and take that opportunity, just kind of have that conversation and talk about it. Just because your boyfriend is pointing it out, also doesn't mean that he's judging it. You might assume that he's judging it, but he might just be simply pointing it out and asking about it, and it's an opportunity to talk about it. Okay. Um, when you're talking about it, it's also a chance, again, to kind of bring him in and see how he can be supportive. So instead of kicking him out, you can think about, what do you want to do next time? Do you want him to knock on the door if you're in the bathroom for too long? Do you want him to say, hey, is everything okay? Or maybe you want him to knock on the door if you're taking a long time and say, hey, are you almost done? I have to use the bathroom. Um, right? 'Cause then it kind of puts it on him. He's got to use the bathroom, and then you can kind of, oh, okay, let me kind of speed it up. Um, and that will help to kind of get out of that trance, which happens when you get like stuck in the bathroom. Okay. Hope that was helpful. Next pre-submitted question. My girlfriend caught me picking while watching a movie together and saw pieces of my skin everywhere and said that it was really gross and doesn't want to touch me because now my skin is rough, raw, and bleeding in spots. Yeah, I mean, TV time is a common trigger. Usually you're kind of very inactive and the body kind of wants to be doing more. Um, so it can be helpful to have strategies by the TV for next time. So you can kind of, now that you know that that's a situation that you're more likely to be picking in, have some strategies ready. I mean, have some fidgets, but you can also have some ideas and strategies of things you can do together while watching TV. So, holding each other's hands, giving each other massages. You can cuddle. Um, People really like weighted blankets. You can kind of cuddle underneath that weighted blanket. That could feel really grounding. You can do an activity together while watching TV or a movie. So, like a puzzle, for example, um, something that doesn't take too much brain power and you can kind of do at the same time as watching something. Um, Again, this is an opportunity to talk to your girlfriend, and educate her and let her know what's going on, what this is. It's actually pretty common, right? It's not gross. It's just skin. Um, and it's again, it's something you're working on, you're aware of it, and put put bandage on if you're bleeding, put lotion on if it's a little bit extra rough, and you could touch other areas, find other areas um, that are not as rough or raw, that's not bleeding. So find other areas that you're comfortable with for touching, and there are plenty of options. Okay. Um, I'm nervous to kiss someone while dating. They will be so close to my face. What if they see I have missing eyelashes or no eyelashes? So typically, when you go close to someone's face, you're like leaning in for a kiss, you close your eyes. So when you're that close to someone, they're not going to be looking at or noticing your eyelashes. They're going to be closing their eyes and they're going to be focusing on kissing you. Um, so I wouldn't worry too much about them noticing anything. Focus on the kissing. Um, they're focusing on the kissing. My partner does not know, and I'm worried what they will think if they see me without makeup. I wake up extra early just to make sure I am covered before they wake up. But I feel like this is not sustainable in the long run. Do you have any suggestions? Um, well, first, I would want to know how long you've been with your partner for. But regardless, they're there for you. They want to be with you. They're not judging you like you are judging yourself. Um, and everyone does not look their best in the morning. Um, and when people wake up, they're also really groggy, so you're not really like looking and seeing anything clearly. You're kind of thinking about, oh, I gotta get up. Oh, I gotta do this for the day. I have all these tasks I have to do. Oh, I have to get ready. Um, so they're not paying attention. So I don't think you need to wake up extra early to put makeup on or to double check yourself. I mean, wake up when you want to wake up and just get ready as usual in the morning. Um, because again, they're not going to most likely not going to notice or be focused on that. Um, and they might be thinking, oh man, I don't look good in the morning, right? So, um, yeah, so I wouldn't worry about it. But again, take it easy. Take your time, do some self-care, do what feels right for you, and what you're comfortable with. You'll find a routine, but it might take a little experimenting. Um, okay, looks like we have one last pre-submitted question, and then I'll go to your live questions. My boyfriend keeps asking to shower together, but I wear a wig, fake lashes, and draw on eyebrows, so this is not possible. I don't want him to think I'm disinterested, but don't know what to do. So don't do anything that you're not comfortable with. Okay, so if you don't want to or can't shower, I mean, offer other suggestions. So when you make a counter offer, it shows that you're still interested, right? So maybe, for example, you want to take a bath together instead of a shower. That way, you're not risking submerging, getting your hair wet, the wig, lashes, or eyebrows. Um, it also depends on how big the tub is, of course. But so offer some counter suggestions. Um, you can also just fool around in the bathroom, not actually being in the shower. Or you can kind of play on this instead of like getting clean together. Maybe you want to get dirty together and do kind of some fun dirty activity. So think about what feels right for you. You know, you could also, set that boundary. Don't don't be afraid to set that boundary. Like your shower time is your alone time. That's your space, your time for relaxing, processing. Um, you don't like to shower with other people. It's you time. So something simple like that is perfectly fine and perfectly acceptable. And it does not mean you're not interested. It just means you respect your time and your self-care. Um, and that's your time. Yeah. So honor that. Nothing wrong with that. Okay. Okay. Great. I'm gonna watch this. Hope that was helpful. Let me go to your live questions here. Looks like we got a bunch. Okay. As a wig wearer, when it comes to online dating, how do I overcome the fear that I am deceiving or manipulating people on the apps? If I have photos in a wig and in real life, I don't look like the photos, very worried about being seen as misrepresenting myself online. So, again, kind of what I mentioned before. Um, when you're wearing a wig, it's a part of you. It becomes you. It's kind of becomes part of your identity, right? Um, so it's not being misrepresenting yourself. It's not being deceiving. It's still a part of you. That said, it's up to you. An earlier question, right? When do I tell my partner, right? So you can certainly be right up front about it, like, hey, this is a wig, and this is why. And if they don't like that or uncomfortable with it, then you kind of weed them out, right? You can eliminate them from your prospective dating list. They're not the right person for you if they're not okay with that. You can also just wait, right? Get to know them a little bit, date and see how it goes, and let them know when you feel comfortable. Okay. Um, so it's, I don't know, you say, how do I overcome the fear? I think just with time, there's not a specific thing to do to overcome that fear. It's more about working on your perception and rephrasing some of the thoughts that you're having about that. But keep in mind, you're not deceiving, you're not manipulating anyone, and in fact, most people in the online dating world, right, are fibbing something. Um, Not that you're fibbing this, but there's always something. You're always not getting the full picture. So don't worry about it. Okay. I hope that answered your question. I find that people I've told always find it weird. Oh, and never get it. So makes me more secretive and get worse. Any advice? Oh, I'm kind of surprised. And I'm sorry to hear that you've had this experience so frequently. Um, if people are telling you that it's weird, I mean, you can kind of agree with them. Oh yeah, like this is such a weird disorder. Like, yeah, like this stinks. I wish I didn't have it. Um, right? But it's still a disorder and it's an opportunity to educate them. Or you can kind of say, well, again, counter that weird. Well, actually, it's just kind of like self-grooming, but it's kind of self-grooming that's gone awry. Um, so I kind of wind up accidentally taking it to another level. And that's the disorder. That's part of the disorder. And it's a biological disorder, um, right? And it's very complicated. Um, and so when the more you kind of talk about it, the more it helps with that shame and to educate others so that stigma can be decreased. So I hope that you wind up having better experiences. Not everyone is going to say that it's weird. Usually, when you decide to tell someone, they open up and tell you something that they think is weird about themselves, right? Or something that they're embarrassed about. Um, so typically, that's what happened. If someone is not responding well, then maybe they're not a good person to have in your life. Okay. So just something to think about. Again, hope that answers your question. So I'm seeing a question here that's kind of a general question. So I'm going to skip the general questions. I'm sorry. But for general questions about BFRBs, we're going to save that for our regular Q&A. So tonight we're just focusing on love and romance and dating and intimacy. So any questions related to BFRBs and that for tonight? Um, okay. This is a longer question. What are some mantras, self-soothing techniques to use before engaging in a conversation about BFRBs? I really enjoy having my hair played with, scalp massaged, etc., but experience deep discomfort when my partner does. So because my scalp is my main pulling area. For context, I have shared my struggles with Trick, but intend to. Do you have suggestions for lessening managing this type of discomfort outside of sharing that I have a BFRB? So, um, so mantras, self-soothing techniques to use before having a conversation about BFRBs with your partner, to kind of like give yourself like a pep talk, right? A pep talk before talking about BFRBs. Um, you can say so many different things. You can say the usual like you got this, they're gonna understand. This is more of a big deal to me than it will be to them. I'm sure they just want to be supportive. They really care about me. Um, this is going to be an opportunity for us to get closer and think about ways we can offer each other support. So, kind of reminding yourself these things, I think, could be helpful. And you can always get more specific, and you can, if you have ideas, you can also write them down. Um, Write down your own mantras, write down inspiring quotes, so you can kind of refer to them, whether it's on pen and paper, post-it note, or even just on your phone. You can kind of open it up and kind of quickly read something that helps you to feel good. You are beautiful on the inside and outside, right? I am. Progress is not linear, right? These are some common helpful mantras that can kind of help you to feel a little bit better um, before having a deeper conversation with someone about it. So the other part of this question, I really enjoy having my hair played with, scalp massaged, etc., but experience deep discomfort when my partner does. So again, even if it's something that you enjoy, if you're uncomfortable with someone else touching your scalp, massaging your scalp, um, then move their hand, right? Redirect it to a different area. Um, have them massage a different part of you. Okay. Even if they know about what's going on, um, that doesn't mean that you're necessarily comfortable with them touching, your main pulling area. So even if they know, you could still redirect them. You can also kind of let them know, oh, I'm not, if they know about it, right? Oh, I don't want you massaging me today. Right. It's not feeling too good today, or I had a rough day. Let's do something else. Let's massage a different area. Okay. Um, yeah. So you certainly don't have to share that you have a BFRB, right? Again, that's only if you want to. Just redirect them. Redirect them to a different area, to where you're feeling more comfortable. Okay. And this is another longer question. Mm, I'm gonna read it out loud. Maybe I can process it out loud. It seems this seems like it's a question about a family relationship, right? That counts. So let's go for it. Um, my mom used to say I was ruining my beauty. Oh, and then realized I couldn't speak to someone I trusted. She tries better now, but will still say stuff like that. Oh, my concern lately, as it's been mostly eyelashes, that I've had cornea abrasions, yep, in my eyes, and think it's connected. I only stopped when had a cyst, etc. on my eyes. I'm worried about my health because of it. Had scarring on my legs in the past. What can I do? I can put tights on to avoid legs, but unconsciously do my eyelashes. Yeah. So I'm sorry that. So this is talking a little bit about the relationship with your mom, but also a little bit more of a general question about what you can do. So I'm sorry that your mom said that. I mean, of course, again, she cares about you and she wants the best for you. But know that you are not ruining your beauty. Um, right. You're still beautiful. You're having like little setbacks, and that's okay. Um, it's not permanent. You know, hair is pretty resilient. It's going to grow back. So keep that in mind. Okay. I'm wondering how she kind of interacts with you now. You say that she tries better now. So I hope you can find ways that she can show her love and be supportive. And it certainly can be similar to what we were talking about before, what a partner can do, right? So your mom can still hand you lotion and help you with self-care. She can still massage you, right? She can still ask you to do activities with her, help you with errands around the house, go on a walk, do things like that. Um, so all the things that we've been talking about this evening, certainly it applies to a loved one within a parent loved one. Okay. Um, so, um, so yes, you mentioned having some abrasions in your eye. So yes, that can happen. You would not be the first, so that is a potential risk of lash pulling, especially if you're using tools such as tweezers. So you're more likely to risk like cornea abrasions. Um, and then you stop when you had to cyst. So yeah, so if you're using tools, definitely be very careful. If you have abrasions, make sure you're seeing an eye doctor and you're getting the treatment that you need, um, um, because you want to make sure you can be as healthy as possible, even if you're pulling. So scars heal. You mentioned having scars on your legs. Yeah, they heal. It takes time. It depends on the kind of scar, of course, and where on the body, because different parts of the body heal at different rates. But it will heal. So it sounds like what you've done so far is a barrier. So putting tights on to avoid some leg pulling. Um, but yeah, but unconsciously do my eyelashes. So things, if you're talking about, there's so many different strategies, but if you're talking about barriers, things to block you. So like glasses, sunglasses, um, even using a lot of Vaseline. So things are like on your fingers. So it's like slippery, or Band-Aids or Scotch tape on your fingers. So those are things that could block you. Um, if you are not aware when you're pulling and you want to work on being more aware, things kind of like to help increase your awareness. So tracking can be a really helpful technique, so you can learn more about your patterns and increase your awareness. You can also get, a device called the Keen Habit Aware that kind of buzzes as you go to a pulling or picking zone, that you train it. So that can help, again, to increase your awareness. So think about things you can do. Again, barriers, increase awareness. We talk a lot about stimulus control and competing responses. So things you can do in your environment to help, and things that you can do um, in terms of doing something opposite, doing something else. Okay. So lots of strategies. I can certainly go into more detail at a different, the general Q&A, but I'll give you a little bit of that now. Okay. So I hope that's helpful. Um, answer. Oh, so are there other questions? I have finished the questions, the pre-submitted questions and the one that you have been typing. So I'll give it a couple more minutes to see if other questions pop up or if you'd like any follow-up questions. Um, so as I'm waiting a couple of more minutes to see if anything else comes up, I do want to thank everyone for joining, and I hope this was helpful. February, we tend to think about this stuff a little bit more because of Valentine's Day. And so it could be, a really happy time, but it can also be a really difficult time. So I'm glad we had this space to really explore some of that. And hopefully you feel a little bit more prepared, not only just for this month and for Valentine's Day, but just, for life in your relationships and for dating. Um, and we can certainly do this again. We don't have to do this, just because it's February. So if this is something that you're interested in focusing on, again, this similar topic, or if you have other specific um, themes that you want Q&As on instead of a general Q&A, please let us know. So you can email us at either support@skinpick.com or support@trickstop.com. Okay, so no other questions are coming up for this evening. So we are going to wrap it up. Okay, so thanks again, everyone, for joining. And hope you have a good rest of your evening and day in February. And maybe we'll be in touch for the next webinar. Have a good evening. Okay, great. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good evening. Take care.